Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're taking a look at MOTU Origins Wave 4 figure Tri-Klops. Tri-Klops is a character who's getting a lot of attention lately because he has been featured in the new Masters of the Universe Revelation cartoon, where he's taken on the role of some sort of high priest of a cult that's full of zealots that worship technology and something called, was it like the Motherboard? Very Aeon Flux-like. Anyway, if you've seen my reviews before, you know this goes. We're going to take a look at Tri-Klops' packaging. They'll open it up, get a quick glance at his comic book, and then we'll see Tri-Klops himself, check out his posability, his accessories, his features, all that. Naturally, I'll be doing some group shots and comparisons today. And then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. Tri-Klops comes in your standard MOTU Origins packaging. This, like many of my other Wave 3 and 4 figures, is the international packaging, which is far less interesting, I'm sorry to say, and is also very, very beat up because of how very poorly they were packed for their overseas shipment. So, still not happy. You can see on this packaging, you get the name Tri-Klops here, but you don't get his cool title underneath, which is a shame. You can see the figure here in his little blister. You get the comic behind him. You flip it around, you get this neat artwork of Tri-Klops using his little laser eye to blast a beam at He-Man, who is deflecting it with his, looks like his sword, while he's riding Battle Cat, so that's cool. You get Zor over here, flying past the volcano, and then you get the, was it the evil one? The evil recolor of Zor, I can't remember his name at the moment. So, not the busiest action sequence, a little plain compared to some of the others. The setting is just kind of very generic, but overall it's pretty cool. And it's showing off, one of his abilities, right? The fact that he can shoot these beams from his eye. Here you get your action feature callouts, sans text, so you kind of have to just figure out the picture's telling you. Top one just telling you to twist his little eyepiece around to give him like the different expressions with his one eyeball. And then over here you get your standard like twist into battle poses thing. You get your cross cells to the right, your standard He-Man and Skeletor. You get the good guy Stratos over here, leader of the Horde, Hordak. Tri-Klops himself, and then Ninjor. So overall, pretty standard stuff. Again, I wish I had more to read off for you guys with cool flavor text and all that, but them's the breaks. Here's Tri-Klops' mini comic, and it's the same one we've seen with the other Wave 4 figures, complete with no dialogue whatsoever because it is the international boring version. So at this point, I've pretty much just given up on trying to figure out what's going on. Some kind of craziness with Ninjor and Hordak, and I don't know, something's going on. I think like they're trying to trick the good guys and give them something, or I don't know, whatever. Good guys win. The end. And yet again, here is our cross cells for Wave 4. Now we get to see Tri-Klops out of the package, and I gotta say, he looks really good. Body-wise, from the neck down, he is just a He-Man recolor. And he gets a new bit of chest armor instead of the He-Man harness. His colors are very striking, though. Very contrasted against each other without clashing too much. You got the orange, green, and then the black boots and stuff. I think it works out pretty well. You can see here that his sword is being held on a harness that's included on the chest armor. I think that's really cool because the first wave of figures, start out pretty strong with having like the weapon storage, He-Man and Skeletor. So it is cool he has somewhere to put that sword if you don't want it, being wielded. Of course, you can slide it out of here, and he's got his weapon-wielding hand, like most MOTU toys. They usually have the one there. And he gets this really just nice broadsword, and I mean, it's a fairly simple piece, but it's nice. It has a painted black handle and even has a knuckle guard there. Nice hilt that has kind of like this crescent moon shape with a little emblem in it, and then just a nice big broad blade. It's simple, but it works. I think he's just very visually striking. And then, of course, we cannot forget his main gimmick, right? Tri-Klops' whole thing is the rotating eyes. So you just take this, and it just turns pretty easily. And basically, it's like varying stages of anger. So you have like this kind of neutral one. They have the angry eye with the red iris there. And then you have the absolutely furious eye, where, I mean, the whole eye turns red. And he's, I think he's about ready to just commit all the deaths. So it's cool. I mean, it's a really cool little play feature. It's fairly simple compared to some others, but it's satisfying and it works well. It's got the right amount of friction. The disc, I think, doesn't click into place, but there's enough friction there to hold it in place. It's not gonna like spin freely or move on you. Yeah, I really like him for what he is. I really enjoy the way he came out. Here's a group shot with your regular He-Man, just so you can see how much of the body is reused, which is, again, everything from the neck down. Fairly similar colors between them because they both use some shade of orange for their belt and their bracers, and then he goes and uses black for the loincloth and boots instead of brown. So normally, Tri-Klops wouldn't be a very exciting figure because he's just a He-Man head swap, but he does enough to set himself apart. He gets the really nice weapon, which weapons aren't anything new, but it's so prominent and makes up so much of this visage that, it just feels more significant. And then he also has, the great holster there in the chest armor. And then, of course, his eye swapping gimmick. It really just helps him feel like a new toy despite being, probably 80% He-Man. So I like it, and he, looks like a good adversary for He-Man. He is one of the more popular villains out there, and his popularity has only been helped by the recent Revelation cartoon, in which he's, featured pretty prominently. So I imagine he'll be a character that's kind of popping up again on everybody's, must-have list. And this completes our look at Tri-Klops. Now, one thing I really like about this guy, and I kind of already touched on it, is despite not having a lot of actual new parts, he manages to really set himself apart, and the color choices on him too really are just very eye-catching and makes for a very satisfying figure. Again, that's very subjective on my part because in truth he is, like 80% a He-Man toy, but he just, I don't know, he works very well. The gimmick is really cool. It allows for multiple, expressions for different poses and battle scenes. The sword, again, is really nice. It's nice and big, really just kind of stands out amongst some of the smaller weapons that some of these guys, come with, which can seem rather inconsequential at times. And he just does everything right, no crazy over-the-top stuff. Very simple gimmick that works well, good design. I really enjoy him. Now, him being a, Wave 4 figure, at this point, he's going to be quite difficult to obtain. There is the more recent PowerCon version, the first appearance one, but that's probably even harder to obtain, right? Because the PowerCon exclusives go for some pretty hefty sums there on that secondary market. So if you can imagine to snag one when it was available, you're probably better off tracking this guy down, because whatever upcharge you're going to pay for the Wave 4 figure is probably not going to compare to that. So, up to you which one you want. This will probably be the more popular option because this is the version of the character everybody recognizes. PowerCon one's a little odd looking, almost like Christmas colored. It's really weird. So I would say, personally, if you don't have either of them, I would try to track this one down. You may overpay a bit. You may drop 20 to 30 bucks on this $15 toy. But at this point, if you don't already have them, you aren't really going to have much of a choice than to fork over a little bit extra. But I think you won't be too upset you did. He's really nice. He's a good display piece. He looks good on a shelf. I'm probably going to have him ride my evil, not the Wind Rider, but the battle sled. I'm going to have him ride that, the war sled, right? The evil one. Because he's got a good hand for gripping and he actually put a sword away while he rides it. So he's a good candidate for that. So yeah, I think he's worth picking up and just putting on your shelf. Of course, that is just my take on Tri-Klops, so now I want to know what you all think of him. Do you find him to be as good as I do, or do you think I'm just kind of being wowed by the gimmick and not really acknowledging how samey he is? Any and all feedback is always welcome in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this look at Masters of the Universe Origins Wave 4 figure Tri-Klops. And with all that said, I will see you next time.